King Introduction. Some of us are born queens and kings with royal blood running through our veins. And some of us choose to be queens and kings because of the obstacles we were destined to overcome. Sometimes to be a true leader is not always about the crown you wear or the throne you sit. It's about the heart you have and the courage to match. This is a story of a king who lived up to his true name, King. The story takes place within Central Africa, where certain groups of the Zonde tribe had taken long-standing traditions that focus clearly and strongly on visions, dreams, and natural magic. And now the story begins in a comfy hut as King's beautiful mother, Amira, gives birth. King had finally been born and delivered by his grandfather, Milo. They sat and observed him with pure joy and smiles and tears of joy of his mother as they sat and said, "He's beautiful. What shall we call him, my daughter?" Amira gazed into King's eyes and said, "We shall call him King." Look into his spirit, Father. Something is saying that his spirit is destined for greatness. And with that greatness, he shall be called King. Yes, my daughter, I approve strongly. This boy shall be called and named King.
Siyakhanya phezulu ebusuku, umoya uyangithinta, uphonsa uthando, isibhakabhaka sithule sinikeza amandla, ebusuku lapha ngizuthula kwami. Siyathandaza emoyeni, umhlaba uyaphila unikeza uthando, lapha ebusuku ngiyabonga imvelo. Izinkanyezi zikhanya,
King, Chapter 2. It is now 25 years later, and King is now all grown up, but struggling so hard to find his true self. As time has gone on, unfortunately, King's mother has passed over, and he has been raised all this time by his grandfather Milo, who did his very best to love him and guide him and teach him. But King still felt an empty space within him, a space of loneliness, a space of trying to fit in with everybody. He always felt he was different from everyone, and only his grandfather understood why. King was also torn in two. He had this desire to want to fit in with everybody and feel accepted, but he also had this other desire where he wanted to explore, be free, use what he felt he had within him to be useful to the world, but yet he felt so trapped. But little did he know what was yet to come. As the day and the adventure begins, King rushes from the hut in which he had lived in and been born in with his grandfather. He rushes to the field where he sees other children and people his age gathered together to come up with some sort of project. But as he arrives, they all look at him with disgust, and he looks with fear and intimidation. On one side, he sees others laughing at him, giggling, and on the other side, he overhears them saying, "Why is he here? He is so weird. He doesn't even belong over here." King looks and feels despaired. One thing, unfortunately, King had always suffered with was standing up for himself. He stood quietly and shamefully as they all carried on. They all seemed excited and overjoyed by the leader, Zorro, who they looked to as a king. But Zorro was filled with arrogance. But yet he was filled with charm and power. And King admired that about him. He felt he wanted to be just like him. You know, Zorro sets a good example for everyone. Such good leadership. I can only hope one day I could be just like that, said King. Then one of the guys in the tribe approached King and said, "Ha! You will never be anything like Zorro. You may have the name of a king or be named king, but you will never be anything like a king." Everyone laughed hysterically as the tears in King's eyes began to swell, and he ran as fast as he could from everyone as they all continued to laugh. King ran so far as he can go, to his favorite spot, a spot where it's isolated, near a tree, in the middle of nowhere, where from there he has a great view. A breathtaking view of the mountains where the sun rises and sets. And from that view he gazes and cries. And then within long sight, he sees a lion staring straight at him with no hesitation. King looks terrified and quickly gets up and blinks just for a minute. And within that minute, the lion that was staring at him is gone. King looks around with confusion and concern. He knew he wasn't imagining seeing a lion, but yet the lion disappeared with the quickness, and it leaves him concerned. And as he's concerned, he begins to run back home to his hut. He begins to run back home to his grandfather. King, chapter 3. King is now back home as he sits with despair and now confusion as he drinks his tea. And in comes his grandfather from a Bible study. And he says, "King, what are you doing home so soon? I thought you'd be out with everybody coming up with a project for Zorro. Are you all right?" No, grandfather, I'm not. I tried going earlier, and everyone just excluded me and just made fun of me like they always do. King, you have to understand. People will always be inferior of you because you have such a bright light inside of you. And people will do anything to try to dim that. But you can't let them. You have to be strong enough to know your worth. Grandfather, I don't know my worth. Yes, I do everything that you tell me, and I try to listen, but where is it? I just don't have it in me. I don't understand, why am I named King, and if I don't feel anything like a king? My grandson, you are named King because from the moment you was born, your mother knew exactly what kind of spirit you had. She said you would be named King because you have a spirit that is destined for greatness, destined to do wonders. She believed that, and I believe that. And you have to believe that. You may not know it now, but mark my words, my grandson. You are destined to do something great and amazing and unforgettable. King looked and smiled with tears in his eyes and felt a slight bit of relief. Do you remember those stories I used to tell you all the time when you was a kid? Yes, grandfather. The story is about the lion kings who had ferocious strength and was given the gift by the gods to save those who were in need. Use their super strength, their super power, their super roar to be undefeated and save those from evil. Yes, I know, grandfather. You used to tell me that all the time, and I hold on to them, but at the end of the day, they're just stories. I mean, what good is it going to do with real life? See, I said they were stories, but I never claimed to tell you that they weren't true stories. King looked slightly surprised, but still found it very hard to believe as he said to his grandfather, "So, you're telling me it wasn't just a story, it was a prophet?" King's grandfather just looked with a warming smile and said, "All in due time, grandson. All in due time." King looked with such confusion he didn't know what to believe. But then he also remembered the lion that in which he had seen and figured it has something to do with what was yet to come. King chapter 4. King is walking by himself in the field with still such confusion about what his grandfather said and what he has seen with his own eyes. He struggled to comprehend that if the story was actually true and a prophet of there to be a lion king, a man made of human but also made of lion strength and power, then who shall it be? He thought it had to be someone worthy of it. Then he thought to himself and said, It must be Zorro. It has to be. He's the only one out of all of us with the confidence, the power. It must be him. I must go to him and ask him about it. King said to himself as he ran to try to find Zorro. He ran to Zorro's private area. But as he approached his private area, he overheard something that he wished he would have never, ever could have imagined. These people are merely fools, and I have no use for fools. I feel we must start and begin a new tribe, a fresh start, grow stronger. And in order to do that, we must rid what is now and what is old. Tomorrow morning, we kill them all, said Zorro to his companions. King was consumed with shock and terror. He couldn't believe his ears and what he heard. A man that he admired and wanted to be just like and thought was a hero and a king turned out to be the biggest traitor of all and the biggest evil within their tribe. He didn't know what to do. He felt he had to warn everybody in his tribe. He had to save them. His grandfather, even those who treated him wrong. He felt it was his duty to save them. So he ran back as fast as he could back to the tribe, back to gather them all, to warn them, to save them. As he got back, he called forth to everyone to quickly come and gather around. And he said to them, as he tried to catch his breath, "Everyone, please listen to me. The evil and outsider is not outside of our tribe. It is within our circle. Zorro is planning to kill us all. He feels we are all weak and not worthy to be following in his path. He is going to kill us. He's not going to save us. He's going to kill us. We have got to get out of here." Before he could say anything else, everyone just hysterically laughed at him. They laughed uncontrollably, saying, "You don't know what you're talking about. You are a loser. Why should we listen to you? You have no power." They all laughed uncontrollably, unbearably. And he just looked in shocked and disbelieved, saying, he's trying to warn them and help them. But how can they all do this? "I am telling you the truth! Grandfather, you believe me, don't you?" As King began to cry, all Milo could do is look at him and say, "King, you are my grandson and I love you, and I will always stand by your side. But I really think you need to think more clearly about this." King quickly took that as to say that his own grandfather, didn't believe him either. "So you're against me too? Well, you know what? That's fine. I don't need you. I don't need anyone. I know what I heard and I know what I saw, and I am telling you all the truth." King tried to leave, but Milo stopped him and said, "King!" And King said, "No, grandfather. I don't belong here. I never did. You say that I am destined for greatness or whatever. Maybe I am, or maybe I'm not. But I do know that greatness is nowhere near here. I am done, he said and cried as he ran away and left his grandfather with everyone. King, chapter 5. King ran as far away as he could as possible, back to his spot, his isolated spot. He had plans to just run far away and never return to the tribe of Azanda. But he felt he can only go but so far. How would he make it through? But he also felt that he couldn't leave behind what was yet to come. He fell to his knees and felt with pain and disbelief and started to cry. And he shouted, saying, "What am I going to do? Please, please help. I don't know what to do. Someone, please show me the way." And then right in the middle of him appears the lion in which he had foreseen. He felt in terror, but he still felt unbelievably calm at the same time. The lion stared straight into his eyes as King stared right back. Couldn't believe what he was seeing. He was staring at the lion, but the lion was not attacking him. And then King hears the essence of the lion speak to him, saying, "It is you who are now the chosen one." Just those brief words the lion said to him. And without warning, appeared a bright, blazing light, as bright as the sun. Only King was not blinded by it. He knew it wasn't the sun that had come up, and he knew it wasn't the moon. He knew this light was a light unlike any other he had seen, and the light wanted him. And with this light, he felt as if he can feel his mother's presence. For the first time, King felt fearless as he walked towards the light. Hovering above the light was essence of ancient kings and queens of lions as they roared silently for King. King was transformed into a glow, a transparent glow, as it rose him higher to the light. Blaze of light engulfed him as he span around fast and fast, spinning fast with the essence of the lion kings and queens. King was now crowned as the new, real Lion King. King, chapter 6. It is now morning, and everyone in the tribe of Azande, they hear horns blowing, horrifying horns. They look with outside of their huts. They all run out and rush, only to see from afar Zorro and a large group of his minions, all gathered and lined up to rush to kill everyone within the tribe. Everyone looks in shock and in fear and in panic and disbelief, only to hear one of them say, "King was right. He was right." They all couldn't believe it. They didn't know what to do. All they could do was panic. There was nowhere much for them to run, so they felt they had no choice but to face their fate, their unbearable agony fate. Zorro and his minions ran and charged towards them. They charged as fast as they could, with so many with tears in their eyes as they hug one another and hold each other's hands. Milo stands in front of them, and he says calmly, "There's nothing for us to fear." And then one of the bullies that always bully King says, "How can you be so sure?" Milo just closes his eyes and puts his head down, not in fear or shame, but with faith and hope. And out of nowhere appears King, roaring with the voice of a lion, with the essences of the kings and queens of lions by his side, as they all charge to take on Zorro and his minions, fulfilling his destiny. King took on an unbelievable fight with kicks, stomp, fight, and roar, leaving everyone in Azonde speechless and amazed by how much power, strength, confidence King truly had in him all along. Enough love to protect them. All the minions was defeated and killed, except for one that King faced on, Zorro. This one was personal. He looked and he said, "I can't believe all these years I wanted to be like you, admired you, looked up to you, only to find out you was what I needed to kill all along." And then Zorro looks at him and says, "Just because you put a mask on does not make you any different. Behind that mask, you are still the same scared, no good little boy you always have been and always will be." And then King looks at Zorro with a smile and boldly says, "You're wrong. I am what you should have been. I am and always will be a king." The essence of the lions all gathered from the sky as King charged and used every strength in him to end Zorro. Zorro evaporated and was gone. The tribe of Azonde all bursted into cheer, some with tears and with so much gratitude. And Milo cried with tears of joy. King conclusion. The very next day, the war is over, Zorro is gone, and everyone is safe. King stands in the middle of the field, right in his isolated spot. He looks in the view of the mountains where the sun rises. He looks and he finally feels like he's free. And he makes a decision. Before he can announce his decision, so many come behind him, so many of the tribe come rushing from behind, with great cheer, great gratitude, and hugs. Even those who treated him wrong had so much respect for him now. And they look to him and they say, with sincere, heartfelt, deep words, "King, are you sure you have to go? We truly hate to lose such a brave warrior." King looks at everyone and says, "I've tried to figure out who I was for such a long time. And now that I finally figured it out, I feel I finally have the chance to embrace all of who I am, all of who I was destined to be. This alone was proof of it. Yes, I am needed here, but this is not all where I am needed. A gift like this that only God could give is a gift that I must use to share everywhere in the world that is needed. But this will always be home." Everyone smiles with tears in their eyes. And then Milo steps forward and says, "Spoke it like a true king." King smiles with tears running down his face, hugs his grandfather and says, "Thank you, grandfather. Thank you for everything you've done for me. You taught me how to believe in myself. And I thank you for that kind of love. Always," says King as he cries, as they both cry with hugs. And then Milo looks at him and says, "You take everything you've learned and you carry it with you always. Like your mother said, you are destined for greatness." King bows his head to Milo, turns forward, and he begins to walk. He walks towards the mountains that he always viewed, only this time he has the power to speed to them. As King uses his powerful lion speed to the mountains, and beyond the mountains, beyond the horizon of the sun, he says to himself, to make it clear and to fulfill his prophecy, "Sometimes the name we get molds us into who we become. And majority of the times in life, we are blessed with gifts that we choose for either good or otherwise. This is a gift that I will forever choose for good. And now, my legacy as king continues to be written."
I can almost see the dream I'm dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying, "You'll never reach it." Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaking, but I gotta keep trying, gotta keep my head held high. There's always waiting on the other side. It's the climb. The struggles I'm facing, the chances I'm taking, sometimes might knock me down. No, I'm not breaking. I may not know it, but these are the moments that I'm gonna remember most. And just gotta keep going. And I gotta be strong. Just keep pushing on. Yeah. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. Yeah. Keep on moving. Keep climbing. Keep the faith, baby. Keep the faith.